All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for clicking on the video. I think I've wasted enough time. This is the second take of, I think, episode 7. But yeah, let's get right into it. So we have plenty to talk about. The first one's going to be about Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion. Yeah, he's in prison. He just got stabbed a bunch of times. I'm going to see if I can find a video for someone to explain everything. And as you can see, we got a new little setup. I'm still trying to get used to the latency in the headphones, but I'm digging it. It's getting a little better every time. We got lights, 2 screens, the arm. Yeah, and it's a work in progress.
Tory Lanez's case turns as Kelsey's bodyguard claims she shot Megan Thee Stallion.
Not long ago, Unite the People was approached by a gentleman named Bradley James. Mr. James informed us he was working as the...
I'll add real quick, I don't even really give a fuck about celebrity drama and gossip and all that, but I mean, it's a part of our reality. So, I mean, we might as well talk about it. You know, if everybody's going to talk about it, hopefully justice comes out of this. And I mean, it's not cool Tory Lanez got stabbed by any means. I don't condone violence, but yeah, let's see what's up.
The bodyguard and driver for Miss Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. As such, he was in close proximity and he had privy to conversations she was having with her husband and others, and was free to speak with Unite the People, and that he was doing it because his conscience would not let him not speak and leave a man in prison for something he did not do. Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was witness to the conversation Miss Harris had, where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun.
It's crazy. Crazy. I mean, everybody lies sometimes. When I was, part of me thinks, you know, like, this has a lot of similarities to any other celebrity drama. And most of the time, I think it's just to distract us from what's going on in politics. And then politicians have their own way of distracting us. And, you know, I'll be honest, Trump's really good at it. As far as Alcatraz, the jet that's coming in, and we'll go over some stuff with that too. But I think what I'm trying to get at is I could segue into the Epstein, P. Diddy similarities and differences. The major difference between celebrity drama or lawsuits and Epstein, the drama surrounding that and everything going on, is someone's dead, and that's Epstein. Epstein's dead. And you know, despite the similarities, it seems like one thing, like even with this Tory Lanez, I'm not saying, because I don't think the government sent someone in there to do anything and stab them. You know, I think there was probably some beef in prison, and you know, I hope a innocent man isn't in jail, but it seems to be the case. And looking at it from Megan Thee Stallion's perspective, not many people were there. You know, you have your people saying what you want them to say. Everybody's in on it. I mean, you could put an innocent man away who maybe you don't even like, and now you're performing during the New Year's performance she did. It was just it seemed like a big publicity stunt, and she probably made so much money from it. But if Tory Lanez is innocent, I can only imagine what he might get out of this, what he should get out of this.
Social relationships have gone out of
I wish it would just
social relationships have gone out of damn control, because ain't no damn way. Now, as y'all have probably heard, Meg Thee Stallion is back under heat after essentially new evidence has been presented about the case between her and Tory Lanez. It turns out, allegedly, according to the bodyguard who was there on scene, that it was not Tory Lanez who actually pulled the trigger, but instead it was her own best friend. Now, the most recent news on Tory's side is that he was unfortunately, quote unquote, caught slipping as
it was her best friend.
The man was stabbed 14 times. I can't put it any other way. Found himself in critical condition, and somehow he's pulled through, and I guess he is recovering well. However,
you know, because this channel is, of course, called Bias, if I was gonna speculate, if Megan Thee Stallion, I mean, I hope she didn't set him up, but you know, if she caught wind of somebody that was gonna say something, I mean, she has enough money to do it, but
doesn't stop there. There has now been a GoFundMe or a Give Send Go account that has been created for none other than the very man who attempted to take Tory Lanez's life. Now, if you had to make an assumption as to who is funding this Give Send Go, all I have to say is you do not have to be a genius. I'm not saying her, but her people, her supposed fans, all 15 of them. Yeah, this is sick.
yeah, I don't think Megan Thee Stallion's funding this. I don't think she's funding it. I think she wants to be as far away from this as possible. But it's like with any celebrity, there's gonna be people who like who want to see the celebrities they like never falter, you know, and they would probably go as far as to supporting this. But we've been seeing this with everything. Even, I mean, from what was it? Was it the stabbing with, I think his last name was Anthony, Carmelo Anthony. I might be totally off. Yeah. So, I mean, from the stabbing to that chick who said the N-word in the playground, we've been seeing fucking all types of GoFundMes pop up. I wonder what that, like, you know, it's almost like a new form of, the moment someone gets in trouble, the world is so divided, and it's probably been divided forever. I mean, I only say that because even from my perspective, I've only been alive for, I think, 5 or 6 presidents so far. So my knowledge is limited of all the presidents prior. So as far as the world being divided, it's probably always been this way and used as leverage for people who could give a fuck. I don't want to say the powerful, like the elites of the world, but there are people who, they've traveled the whole world and they're not confined to a bubble of culture that we're used to, not having that privilege. So to get back on track though, yeah, it seems like this is just a new trend where anytime something bad happens, Um, anytime someone's in a position where they've gone viral for something that is extremely converse or dividing in nature, the first thing you do is go make a GoFundMe. First thing. So yeah, to kind of button everything up, really one of the only reasons I wanted to talk about this, I mean, aside from all the celebrity drama and gossip surrounding it, and I don't like really getting in that, but getting into it, but it's part of our life, it's part of our reality. But the more we focus on it and choose to only focus on that, if your mindset is, I'm going to focus on this and not politics because there's nothing I can do to change that, you can't do anything to change the celebrity stuff. It's like sitting back and watching TV. It's the same thing with the politics. All I'm saying is that if you're going to engross yourself in a subject and your only excuse as to why you don't have a broader perspective of other things like politics, if you do prefer listening to the entertainment and celebrity drama, maybe you should at least engage a little bit in, or find someone who you enjoy listening to about it. My biggest thing is I had a thought earlier, but it's so difficult to listen to the people I enjoy listening to about what's going on in the world and finding humor from it, because my sources, a lot of them are independent, if not all of them are independent. I rarely watch legacy media, so it really isn't funny because most of the people I listen to are open-minded and are able to sit there and kind of bounce around different perspectives. So it's hard to take humor from it because they're already doing it. They're already finding those gaps in the conversation where you can find humor in something that isn't that funny, and it's not to be cruel. It's just it's going back to, if you are spending your whole day watching entertainment like the Megan Thee Stallion stuff, the Met Gala, if you're not doing that with politics or even if you like getting high and watching conspiracy theories, if you don't have a broad perspective, I'm getting tangled up in my own thoughts. I guess what I was getting at is the resources I listen to, they're already bouncing opinions off. So legacy media, it's going to go up and down and up and down, and it's easy to take content from that, whether it's entertainment or politics, and script it into something funny. But when you're listening to independent media, they're able to see both sides. So, I mean, if you like listening to the Megan Thee Stallion stuff, if you're really on her side or on Tory Lane's side, the least you can do is kind of take it for what it is, or take it for what it is, and realize it might be a form of form of distraction. But I'm getting in the weeds, and I do apologize for that. So we'll move on. And to kind of continue with going over different things in entertainment, we'll talk about the Met Gala. And I think something I've learned from it is, initially I wanted to come into this and just kind of slander the whole idea of celebrities, almost like a cult culture, dressing up for our entertainment and all these costumes and stuff. But honestly, the more I think about it, the more it's kind of sick. I was actually, with all due respect, I love Andree 3000, but I was almost like, there are artists that we look up to. For me personally, there are artists I look up to because they're not engaging with that side of the industry where it's all drama and all that. But so it was weird initially. It was weird to see Andree 3000 even at this event. But yeah, the more I see it, the more I've realized it really is probably just to promote his new album. I mean, I was originally thinking about, all these theories pop up where you're like, oh, it's the Illuminati, they finally got to him, blah, blah, blah. But no, it's sick. I can't even be mad. I didn't really look at anybody else's stuff. I did notice there was I won't even try to go into detail. It's really not something I'm too devoted to looking at. But yeah, man, shit's sick. Piano on his back. I actually didn't even realize the piano. It looks like a real fucking piano, and he's wearing it so casually. So, I mean, that's cool. I love his music. I'm not gonna. I'm glad it changed my mind on it. I'm glad taking a little bit more time, even listening to other podcasts, expecting, or even other independent media, expecting them to kind of really attack the whole idea, and just getting a new perspective on it. It's cool. If I was invited, I'd probably go, but I'd like to do something different. Not that I would ever get invited to something like that. But it is weird to take a step back and be like, how expensive houses are, how expensive food is, how expensive everything is, the whole state of the economy. And I guess it's just a little bit, it's like anything else. And I mean, I'm my own worst enemy when I say it, but something you can indulge in and appreciate these people who have broke the mold and have showed remarkable consistency to become who they are. So it's not all bad. And like I said, I'm still trying to get better at appreciating the entertainment industry, that side of the entertainment industry. It's not always about art. Sometimes it's just, if you look too deep into it, you start to make yourself mad. And I've been hearing it a lot from a lot of people, that hate is confused admiration. So it took a while, but it's sick. I can't even be mad. I think it's a real piano. I wonder if it plays. But yeah, what else we got? Okay, so I was gonna say a joke, and it's I mean, we're only episode 6, so I'm sure I'll get funnier in the meantime. But yeah, no, yeah. This is awesome. This video, it's of Muhammad Kaif, and I'll just play it. I'll play it.
जिंदाबाद। शर्म नहीं आ रही? क्यों शर्म आएगी? पाकिस्तान को खत्म नहीं करना चाहिए। हाँ, नहीं करना चाहिए। भारत देश जिंदाबाद है नहीं है, और पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद है नहीं है। आपका नाम? अपनी जगह पे सब जिंदाबाद। आपका नाम क्या होगा? तुम भी अपनी जगह पे जिंदाबाद। आपका नाम क्या होगा? कैफ। कैफ, पूरा नाम? कैफ, मोहम्मद कैफ। कहाँ से हैं आप? मैं बिहार से हूँ। बिहार से। आपको
Yeah, I don't like the music behind it, but essentially this kid is explaining how, despite being um, Indian from India, um, he doesn't want to see either side get hurt or anybody die from either side. So, I mean, it's awesome. This kid will never be interviewed by anybody, but this is what we should have more of. But you know, that's why you just need one person to be the example, to set an example, and then from there, hopefully, it's something that more people inspire to do, inspire to be. I think it's sick, awesome, really. Um, yeah, Trump rebuild Alcatraz. What was I gonna say on this? There's a few things that I think I'm skipping here. Met Gala, Mohammed Kaif. Huh. Yeah, I guess some of these are in the wrong order, but yeah, what I see from this is like anything else Trump's been doing, where, um, yeah, staying in the public eye. This is not something I think would happen, but you know, I'm not the brightest person in the universe, so he might do it, but I don't think he will. I think it's more of a symbol, you know, of law and order. He's just trying to get the point across. But yeah, this post says, from Donald Trump, rebuild and open Alcatraz. For too long, America has been plagued by vicious, violent, and repeat criminal offenders, the dregs of society who will never contribute to anything other than misery and suffering. When we were a more serious nation in times past, we did not hesitate to lock up the most dangerous criminals and keep them as far away from anyone as they could harm. That's the way it's supposed to be. No longer will we tolerate these serial offenders who spread filth, bloodshed. Reopening of Alcatraz will serve as a symbol of law and order and justice, and we will make America great again. I mean, my boy, you had 4 years. You have had over 6 years. I'm not saying he's not doing a good job in a lot of ways, but I just don't want to see him abusing power like we generally see from government officials. But it does seem like, you know, with the Bitcoin and the jet, he's kind of is taking advantage of a lot of things, and his net worth is rising. I wish we had. I'm sure there's a graph out there of presidents' net worths before and after being elected, and I'm sure it's a trend with all of our presidents. But yeah, no, I don't think this is going to be a thing. I don't think it's something that's going to end up taking place, end up happening. Let's see. I am curious to see what people think. I don't think we're getting a new Supermax prison. I think the one in El Salvador serves its purpose for anybody in America who wants one. Under the, you know, whatever circumstances, you can just send them over there. Not saying that's a good thing either. It's kind of like, I don't think there's any men walking around in El Salvador. It's all women. He locked up all the men. The guy over there, the president. So it's definitely not okay. There's a better way to do it. But as far as having a Supermax prison in America, I don't think that's going to happen. And I'm not the first to say it, obviously, but the prison system in America is practically modern day slavery. And not everyone's going to agree with me, especially a lot of friends of mine, you know. But I mean, that's just what it is. It's taking advantage of a system, putting them in there. I think instead of just attacking the issue, what are some solutions? Maybe there shouldn't be a thing as a for-profit prison. It kind of defeats the purpose of what it's there for, not necessarily to house criminals, but to reform and help people come back into society. But I think that's why the older you get, the more conservative you become, because you realize how limited time is. And then that saying where you can't save them all starts to pop up, and we stop thinking about the future, and we start thinking, what can I do now to preserve what I think is right, and the people who think what I think can benefit the most. So no, yeah, I think it needs to go the other way. We need to worry about helping people, you know, especially everybody locked up with weed and all that. But once again, I don't know everything. Obviously, I'm as affluent in most of this as anybody else, so only time will tell. But no, I don't think we're gonna have our own supermax prison. Trump's Qatar jet gift versus Air Force One, breaking down the key differences. Oh, great, an ad. Love to see it. I'll play it right after this ad. From what I've learned so far, it's illegal. But maybe Fox News will tell me something I don't know.
Member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. President Trump has left Saudi Arabia. He is now in Qatar. A member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, Kevin Kramer, joins me now. Mr. Senator, are you suspicious of our new relationship with Qatar? Because they are home to Hamas and they have supported militants around the world. What do you think? Suspicious?
Well, you'd be wrong if you weren't suspicious. However, that doesn't prevent you from creating a better relationship, which is exactly what Donald Trump's doing. It's what Ronald Reagan did with the Camp David Accords, and even with the evil empire of the Soviet Union when Mikhail Gorbachev became his friend. I think it's best to have friends, if not frenemies. They're both better than enemies.
So what do you think of the luxury jet gift from Qatar?
Well, I think it's more generous than the Statue of Liberty, to be honest. Having said that, I don't have the same negative guttural reaction to it. A lot of people are worried about the image of it. Okay, I think it's a fair point. On the other hand, it's a free airplane, for crying out loud. The United States gives away a lot of stuff to other countries. If it's a gift of appreciation for what the United States has done lately or is doing, rather than a quid pro quo, I'm not all that concerned about it.
Well, it's really a criticism of Boeing because they are late and over budget with the two Air Force Ones that they're supposed to have. I'm going to switch gears for a second, talk about the big, beautiful bill. Senator Ron Johnson.
That didn't really change my opinion on anything. That's everything Trump's already said. It's a gift. Why would you give it up? But I think it clearly states in the Constitution you shouldn't do that. You can't do that. So yeah, the fact he did it, it's not something I want to see. But I also think if it wasn't in the Constitution that you can't accept gifts from foreign nations I don't even know if it's ally or not ally. I mean, I'm trying to think how many nations gift troops and weapons and all that bullshit, you know, like how many nations gift that to the United States and we gift it back, and they're all gifting each other these weapons of, you know, these mass destruction, or even just weapons in general. No one raises an eyebrow, bats an eye, whatever the saying is. No one is ever concerned about that, and brings up the Constitution. So, I mean, the bright side, we get a new jet. The downside, it's bugged, and we don't find it when the U.S. government strips it and puts all their shit in it, and that'll be bad. Or Trump decides to hold on to it, and it's not something that every president gets to use, Republican or Democrat, and it's only something his administration uses, even well after. That's really the only downside, is it being bugged, or he actually does keep it for himself. But I mean, if it's used for presidential reasons and it stays with the government after he leaves, I mean, if you're going to get mad at that, you got to get mad at everything else. Oh, this is also something, I hope it's the right one. I don't know if it is, but we'll see.
2.5 years ago, the Nord Stream pipeline blew up. Yeah. And despite what people like John Brennan and all the hawks said, you were one person who said Russia probably did not blow up its own pipeline.
If you can believe, they said Russia blew it up, yeah.
And so I'm wondering, now that you're president, if you would consider launching a formal investigation into what happened there and who actually did blow it up.
Well, probably if I asked certain people, I'd be able to tell you without having to waste a lot of money on an investigation. But I think a lot of people know who blew it up. But I was the one that blew it up originally because I wouldn't let it be built. And then when Biden got in, he allowed it to be built. And it's very interesting. But I think Russia, with the price of oil right now, oil's gone down, I think we're in a good position to settle. They want to settle. Ukraine wants to settle. If I weren't president, nobody would be settling. They're losing 5,000 people a day. Think of it.
Great way to change the subject, but you know, it would be nice if someone was held accountable for their actions. I honestly don't know how long I can continue to do this podcast, not choosing one side or the other. Part of me really wants to just kind of do it for what it is, and this is primarily a satire podcast, but it'd be so much easier to defend this man if I was gung-ho conservative. Anybody, even I mean, I think it's really dependent on the environment you're in. But I just can't sit here and say it's okay. But I think that's the feeling you get when there are so many secrets are in the world, in every corner of the government. So sometimes it does feel like there's not much you can do and you're just beating a dead horse. But I think I'm definitely gonna continue to do podcasting, and I'm hoping over time it flows better, and you know, I can loosen up enough to kind of do what I want to do more than feel like I have to defend morality. But no, yeah, in all honesty, I don't want to see this from Trump. I want him to hold the Biden administration accountable, and I don't even think Biden had a lot to do with it. but everything's going to get swept under the rug. A few generations from now, it'll be like I said earlier, there's going to be kids who were never even alive during Trump and Biden's administrations. And it's going to be up to everyone who was to kind of shed light on it. But yeah, if I'm going to be straight up, at least for now, and not try to be funny, the whole idea that Russia blew up their own pipeline instead of just turning it off is ridiculous. And I don't know how they got away with that, but they did, the Biden administration. And the worst part is Biden probably didn't even know. I'd put money on it that he had no idea what was going on. So that isn't proof of what Trump was originally, his whole drain the swamp, his whole original platform was based on. Why aren't we seeing accountability now? And that's even more so relevant with Kash Patel. I mean, he said he was going to show the files and he didn't. Now that he's seen them, who knows? There's probably people who are involved that it would be so catastrophic for not just America, but allies, even everybody, all people, all cultures, that there's so much they have to look through and figure out the best way to do this. But what we all want to see is everything for what it is. So yeah, if we gotta hold people accountable and drain the swamp, the people that are in power since their youth all the way till they're 60 plus, retiring, and then they give the position of power to somebody in their family. If we want to see any change, then it has to start somewhere, and it cannot just be when you're trying to run for a leadership position. It has to be seen all the way through. So his answer to this does not sit well with me, but I don't think it would have been any different answer from any other administration. So yeah, it's pretty disheartening, to say the least. And then I love this guy, Kennedy. Yeah, this is him talking to Kash Patel along the same lines, but it goes right back to the whole P. Diddy Epstein thing. So Epstein's dead, and P. Diddy's being publicly shamed for the public, obviously, but he's being shamed for the public, and not saying he shouldn't be held accountable. There's plenty of evidence suggesting that he abused women. He did a whole bunch of nasty ass shit. So it's not like he shouldn't be held accountable, but there's a line in the sand where politicians, if they wait around long enough, or not just politicians, anybody in power waits around long enough, the entertainment side of the house ends up being the being made to look like a fool. It's almost like the idea of art has been corrupted and used as a means of distracting the public, and the excuse is Diddy's kids, all them, they're set for life. They're gonna be fine financially. Johnny Depp and whatever his chick's name was, Amber Heard, you know, they're going to be fine. They're set for life. And what the politicians and political leaders are able to continue to do this, fill their wallets, you know, and promote change just to do what Trump, Kash Patel, Biden, Nancy Pelosi, all these people making excuses once they are in a position of power. But yeah, let's go ahead and give this a watch.
Hang himself, or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he hung himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
When do you think you'll have it done, Cash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Like before I die?
Senator, we've been working on that, and we're doing it in a way that protects victims and also.
I hate being so damn serious about all this, man, because it is serious, but we're just seeing the same thing from everybody who promises change.
Doesn't put out into the ether information that is irrelevant for production of the public, such as CSAM.
Did Jeffrey Epstein hang him?
Come on, Cash. I expected more. I don't know why. Not to just, you know, hold Kash Patel above the fire, but I think it's my age is showing, and I'm just still naive to a lot of the promises that these guys make. But I'm still going to do my best in the future, and I'm sure most of our generation, with technology improving, to not just align with one side or the other because it's easier. You know, you got to go through the bullshit of feeling like it is a waste to listen to these guys because there's nothing we can do to change it. But the very least we can do is talk about it. The very least we can do is nothing. But if you want to see even if you want to be even a little bit on the side of change, the least you can do is talk about it, and shed some light on it, and just continue to just realign yourself with what's right. And I mean, like, even seeing Kennedy, it doesn't ever seem, it seems like no matter who he's talking to, he's making sense. But you don't ever see these guys running for president. You know, you just see him about as high as he is where he's gotten right now. I think senator positions, and there's plenty of good people in government, and he's a prime example of you can be somebody who does it every day. He goes up there and pushes for change. We love to see it, and that's a big reason. It's people like that make you want to keep going and be better and be a better person. I mean, that's what I saw and what I do see with the current administration a lot. But there's plenty of moments, and we're not all perfect, but you can't use that as an excuse, just because it's the side that's easier to agree with because you relate to it more. Maybe we can all take a step back and wonder why we relate to it more. Maybe they're just really good at getting you on their side. I should actually be wearing my Trump hat for this because it is pretty funny. It would be pretty funny to think, supporting MAGA, the Trump administration, and critiquing them. I've always been a big advocate of not treating politics like it's a team, like a football team or a basketball team. But I mean, even then, if you do, when you see something you don't like, when your team's not winning, no one has a problem getting mad at the coaches or the players, but they're also not withholding information about child trafficking and receiving gifts from other teams that are billion-dollar jets. So, yeah, it's a lot more real in the political world than it is in the entertainment industry, and it's boring. And my biggest thing is, I was looking on C-SPAN to find a clip of, I forgot his name, but some guy in Trump's administration was talking to a senator, and the senator brought up the fact that Americans making 15,000 or less are going to be charged a 75% tax by 2030. And it was so boring and difficult to navigate C-SPAN. It's almost like it's a shield that politics has on the public, has from the public, to keep them from even trying to find something. Because, oh my gosh, you can't even fact check when it takes an hour and a half to find a 2-minute clip. So yeah, man, if someone can figure out a way for us to find things a little faster, much faster, make things easier to use on the political side of the house, we can hold more people accountable. But the people in charge of that are the ones benefiting the most from corruption. So I don't expect that anytime soon. I do hope, of course, to have more interviews with more people and talk to them like a human being, and really try to figure a lot of it out. Like I said earlier, with technology going the way it is, I do expect the next generations, there's going to be a lot of bad that comes from all this tech and all this, the booming industries, but there's going to be a lot of good from it too, unless they find a way to take advantage of that. But there's always going to be a tipping point. There's always a tipping point, as far as I'm aware. So I don't think that day can come soon enough, though. This is an interesting, April 18th, 2025, U.S. F-18 pilot misses the landing on the USS Harry S. Truman. So a lot of people are mad about this. They just see their the price of 100 real estate properties going in the water, their college tuition going in the water, their taxpayers' dollars going right into the water. But I don't even understand how this got out. You give this goes to enough internet, people are going to be able to be held accountable, but it's not in the right places. I mean, I could have gone my whole life without seeing this. But it is crazy. It goes into so many other things. We would have never been able to see a jet miss its landing any other time in history. It's insane. And there's really no way to fix this issue from happening again unless we don't have, we get better equipment. Obviously, with time, I'm sure AI will be flying all the planes and stuff. But it's just a funny thing. I mean, it's not funny, but it's funny. But yeah, I thought that'd be fun to put in the podcast. Once again, anybody paying attention, thank you for bearing with me. And if you have any advice, any recommendations, any videos, any comments, feel free to let me know. I need all the help I can get. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. With time, the internet's going to shed light on a lot of stuff. The Pope, Robert Francis Prevost. I believe he's the 14th. 14. 69 years old. Pretty cool. From Detroit. Pope Leo the 14th, born Robert Francis Prevost on September 14th, 1955, is head of the Catholic Church and sovereign of the Vatican City State. He was elected in the 2025 Papal Conclave as the successor to Pope Francis. My favorite part about this guy is his name. My grandpa's name's Leo, so that was pretty cool to see. As far as his ideologies, I didn't even know Pope Francis's political views, and I don't think it's that deep. But once again, I have a lot of friends who have varied opinions. Most of them don't want to see all that outside influence, but all that outside narrative making its way into the church. Same with the division of church and state. I've heard that there should be a division of, I don't want to say church and state again, but yeah, essentially church and state. It goes both ways. For a lot of people. A lot of people want to see more religious perspectives in the church, but most of those people don't want to see a lot of the state's perspectives. I'm confusing myself. Most of the people who want to see more religious perspectives in government do not want to see government perspectives in the church. So it's ironic. But yeah, I don't think, whether you support his beliefs or not, I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. If anything, he's going to bring more people to the church, probably enough so that when they elect a new pope, he's going to be much more conservative. That's kind of how I see things going. Pope Francis was very liberal from my understanding, and I think he gained a lot of traction on social media for a lot of stuff he did, just being as liberal as he was. But I don't think he was liberal enough for the church's liking. Whoever's in charge of a lot of things now, I don't think they gained as much support as they were trying to achieve. And I think that's the main goal. Not that it's right, but I think the main goal, and I don't want to call the church a business, but it pretty much is, as far as, when they separated from the king and they were basically the World Bank at one point. I don't think they gained enough support from this new generation as they wanted to, or as they would like. So they decided, instead of swinging the pendulum the other way, they're putting another pope in charge with liberal ideologies to just keep that pendulum swinging up a little bit more, make it go a little higher. We need more support from this new generation who wasn't initially involved with the church. And once they get enough people, they'll put a conservative pope in, and it'll swing the other way, and it'll go back and forth. I think that's the same thing with modern day politics. Not saying we don't have a voice, because everybody has a voice. Everybody can preach to the choir, so to speak. But I mean, if we just look at history, everybody who's been in charge, it's almost like from what we've learned from legacy media is a lack of honesty and transparency. So who's to say that what we're being told by legacy media is as accurate as it is? And what I'm getting at is, in a world where our opinions don't necessarily matter as much as we'd like them to believe as far as the outcome of presidential elections, elections of the Pope, any leadership position, who's to say it's not all about support and followers? So we see it as two different sides, when in reality they're all together hanging out. And I've talked about this in the past, and I'm sure leaders are talking with the billionaires. They're all sitting at a table, and they're like, listen, here's what we're going to do. You two are running, and you're going to win. And this is all hypothetical, but two people are running. One person's already going to be determined a winner, and that is solely based off of the conflict, the division within the public. So if there's way more conservatives are way more vocal than how can I get it? If whatever country is being this leader is being elected for whatever country, if that country needs a more liberal agenda or a more conservative agenda, they're going to rally support for the one they need the most. And as far as the Pope, the only real way to do that is by putting someone in charge that can do that. Now, if that is true, then the Biden administration tanked with making that happen. But if we're looking at it from that perspective, maybe the only reason he was put in charge was to fuel the conservative side of the house, because America's been liberal for quite a while. And maybe they're making way for a bigger change, I don't know, maybe a transition from people manufacturing goods to machine manufacturing. And the only real way to do that is to have more conservative support, so that these billionaires and CEOs can make those moves in that direction. So what better way to do that than to put Biden in charge, rile up the conservative party, really make them feel like if they have a voice, they can make change happen, and then pull the rug out from under all the Democrats, put a conservative in power, and then look out for the future of America as far as the billionaire side of the house instead of the people. That's kind of what I'm getting at as far as from this administration. But I like to believe that our voice does matter. Our votes do matter. Go out and vote. Show. Make it so overwhelming that change has to happen. But I just don't like thinking that we're all being controlled. And it seems a little bit easier to look at that from the Pope side of the house, because the presidency is like on the home turf. So there's so much noise surrounding it. The Vatican and all that's across the whole ocean. So it's a little easier to step back and look outside the bubble and see like the metaphor about the pendulum, see them going, all right, is it going to swing back? Okay. Pope Leo's in charge. Nope. We're going to keep going, gain more support. And you can see from people just talking to them, a lot of people don't even want to acknowledge the fact that it might not be in the church's, as far as the history of the church and the sacred belief system surrounding it, it might not be in their best interest to kind of give up the tradition, their traditions for a more liberal perspective, unless it's solely to gather support and get more people involved. But yeah, all that being said, I think the Pope has a pretty cool name. So that's cool to see. Pope Leo the 14th. I don't think we're going to see much more of that, of what's going on. I think it's just going to be occasional TikToks being passed around and reels, and getting into the new generation to kind of pull them closer to the church. Diddy trial update. In lieu of the Diddy trial, I believe day 2. I might be behind the power curve, but I am wearing a Sean John shirt. I do not support Diddy by any means, but I like this shirt. I like the red, but no, I don't support it. I'm wearing it solely because we're on day 2. Yeah, what better day to wear it? And obviously I can't really wear it out in public, so might as well wear it on the podcast. But hopefully one of these reels will give us an update. Nasty shit's been going down from what I've been hearing. But yeah, let's see what's up.
Big day in the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking trial. Cassie Ventura, who's the star witness for the prosecution, was on the stand. I was inside the courthouse. Here's what you need to know. So there was a lot of testimony today about the details of freak-offs. There's no dispute that these freak-offs happened, though. What's in dispute is whether or not Sean Combs forced or coerced Cassie Ventura to participate in those freak-offs. And on that critical point, her testimony today was a bit of a mixed bag. On the one hand, she said she did not want to participate in these freak-offs, but she felt she had no choice.
Why are we still drawing this shit? This is the type of shit I'm talking about. This is like C-SPAN. There are things that our government is holding on to avoid a transparent conversation. Why am I listening to this lady? No disrespect. It's awesome she went there, but wouldn't it just make a lot more sense to have a recording so people can digest this information? It's more of a wives' tale. It turns into fucking the no matter what happens, whatever the end of this case, if Diddy is let free, if the glove does not fit, it's not like anybody can go back and actually see what happened. And in a world where maybe we have the technology to record, to take the recording of what's going on in the courtroom and put it in front of some AI, and they'll be like, there's like a 90% chance he's telling the truth or 90% chance he's telling a lie. We'll never get to even consider something like that when all we're looking at fucking drawings. Why don't they take pictures at least? I mean, we have cameras. We might as well take pictures if we're gonna. The least we can do is take pictures if we're gonna draw. But I'm ranting now, so.
Because if she said no, he would get angry. And when he got angry, he got violent. That is helpful for the prosecution. On the other hand, she also testified that she treaded lightly about saying no to these freak-offs because, among other things, she didn't want to disappoint him, she didn't want him to find somebody else, and she didn't want him to write her off. Well, that's helpful for the defense in arguing that he didn't actually force or coerce her into anything. Now, Cassie Ventura is back on the stand tomorrow.
The confronting allegations are laid out in graphic detail in Combs's 14-page indictment. In it, he's accused of trafficking women and male sex workers to perform depraved freak-offs, drug-fueled sex parties for his own twisted enjoyment, and, so brutal, those involved required IV drips to rehydrate. Prosecutors claim Combs filmed the freak-offs to ensure the continued obedience and silence of the victims. And if that wasn't...
I'd much rather see the Epstein files portrayed like this, but it's too important to the government to have that be the case. Diddy's life is probably much less important in the grand scheme of things, and because it's so in relation to the Epstein files. I'm sure everyone involved in the FBI's or CIA, whoever was doing the Diddy stuff, I'm sure they had all the evidence they needed a long time ago. And I think, or maybe they came in the way all this shit was unfolding aligned similarly with the Epstein stuff. And this is all speculation. And of course, everybody's innocent until proven guilty, but yeah, it's a love-hate relationship with the entertainment industry for me. I'd rather see the Epstein files portrayed this way, but that's not going to happen. And it doesn't seem like they're going into too much detail about what's going on. It just seems kind of like
everybody wanted to
an overview.
See, Cassie Ventura is the case for federal prosecutors. She's spoken a civil lawsuit, but she's never gone out and talked publicly the way she is on the witness stand here at federal court. It's the first time she and Sean Combs have been face-to-face since their breakup in 2018, and she's telling the court how over time she began to see a darker side of Sean Combs, what she called his abusive side, that would leave her with busted lips and black eyes and bruises on her body when he became angry at her. And she described participating in a freak-off, these marathon sex performances. At first she said she did it to make him happy, but she recalled her stomach dropping and being nervous. After that, her willingness to participate in these things, she said, changed, but she felt like she didn't have a choice.
Yeah, I've heard some crazy shit from it. I heard he was watching her. Man, I don't even want to say it. If you want some better information on it though, what's up? Yeah, I'm gonna finish up here then. If you want some more information on it though, the Brilliant Idiots podcast, they did a great job kind of elaborating. So if that's something you're interested in learning more about, I'm not going to say it because it's fucking gross, but yeah. Also, what else did we have? Oh yeah, Alberta, Canada, submitting a petition to become the 51st state. What did I write about that? Oh, testing the waters of complacency, same as COVID, a new day and age, new tactics. One of them being complacency, kind of drifting into a one world order. And I mean, I just hate to say it because I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I mean, if you take a step back and look at it, that's kind of what it looks like. If we can get the people who are initially against the whole idea of a one world government, if we can get their guy to be the one putting this together, maybe we can get some traction. So that's my thoughts on that. Starlink still working in Spain and Portugal when the whole country lost power. The irony. I wanted to elaborate on how if it was a test for complacency or to see if Starlink would work and get a little conspiratorial, what does an A+ look like? It probably looks like if a whole country lost power, and then a chart popped up looking something like this. So, I mean, is it a test? Is it a manipulation of the public view to kind of see if we'll just kind of go along with things and chalk it all up to a big accident? Maybe not. Maybe. It's just kind of what it looks like from my perspective. Oh, this was interesting. I think this was Brent Weinstein talking about weakening the dollar and keeping it the world's reserve currency can be a good thing. I don't know why it would.
Don't worry about the wealthy. They will find a way. Worry about making sure that your middle class thrives. Yay! Even from a selfish standpoint, if wealthy people can't get behind that, honestly, fuck them. If he's able to weaken the dollar and keep it the world's reserve currency, it would be the most gangster move ever that every American should applaud. Only rich people don't want that to happen.
So this was not a conversation with Brett Weinstein. This guy's cool though. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure you guys know who this is or could find him before I could do the research, but he makes a good point.
I'm wealthy, and I'm telling you, don't worry about the wealthy. They will find a way. Worry about making sure that your middle class thrives. Yay! Even from a selfish standpoint, if wealthy people can't get behind that, honestly, fuck them. If he's able to...
Yeah, so despite my lack of understanding on why keeping the US dollar, the reserve currency, is a good thing, he makes a great point as far as being someone who is very wealthy, understanding that as long as you're cultivating the middle class, our billionaires, millionaires, they're going to be fine. It does suck that they kind of have to be taken advantage of given the current state of the economy to feed the middle class, but like he said, fuck them. It's, if you got there, you can stay there. You got to do what's right. You should do what's right. Yeah, and then this is a video I saw. I think this is just kind of an example of the future of modern warfare. So we'll end it on this. But yeah, this is a weapons manufacturing company, I believe. Andree Industries. And they made a cool little video. Kind of scary, but they got a lot of shit if you want to check out more about it. Oh, I thought it was going to be more. Maybe it was this one. I don't think it was this one either. Where was it? There's one with like a whole... There was a video I saw, and it was like a fuck ton of drones. Yeah, just kind of showing the whole. I think it'll be much less about sending people to war, and it's going to be a lot more about drones, and it's going to be a lot easier for countries with that ability to make it happen. But yeah, that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and yeah, stay biased.